that kind of the immediate access to guns, and conveniently, almost all the guns used in crimes, not all, but the vast majority already are illegally possessed. A lot of people need help, um, and we can offer that help. I mean, I do think at some deep level, uh, crime is caused by the so-called root causes of racism, poverty, unemployment.
We are pleased to be joined by Peter Moskos, a professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, a sociology PhD holder from Harvard, and a former police officer of whom we're really excited to discuss policing and crime and all that goes with it. So first, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, the pleasure's all ours. So I do want to start with crime quickly because I believe your background gives you kind of a unique perspective with both the sociology side and then having been on the ground dealing with crime as a police officer. I'm curious what your opinion is on the main drivers of crime, like in your experiences. What have you seen as like what causes crime?
I will answer that, but I want to put in a caveat. I think the solutions to crime aren't often directly addressed by addressing the causes of crime. But I mean, I do think at some deep level, uh, crime is caused by the so-called root causes of racism, poverty, unemployment, but also family structure, uh, and the environment matters tremendously. Where you grow up, crime is very segregated, and then of course you get compounding factors like certain laws, whether it's drug laws or gun laws. Um, all these things contribute. All these things do cause crime, but I'm still a pretty big believer in free will and agency, given all those things.
Sure. So I am curious then, because you said kind of the causes of crime, you think that addressing that isn't always the solution. Where do you think the solution then lies for you? Is it kind of more in the policing measures? Are there other maybe proactive measures you're thinking of, or what would you target if it was all up to you?
Well, I'm a little bit, biased because my professional field is policing, so I know that better than the other things. And I do think that policing can, by itself, with good leadership, can play a huge factor. But collaboration is always key. Partly it's that certain things are much easier to do. How are you going to eliminate structural oppression? I don't know. I doubt we ever will. So I don't want to wait that long, because the tragedy and trauma of violence is so great, and spreads so perniciously, that we can focus simply on crime, and leave those other problems, some of which are arguably more important, but we can leave those other problems to other people, and wish them the best. But I'm not too optimistic that they're going to succeed.
Yeah, and I guess there is some agreement there. My usual thing that I say is I think that policing is kind of more of a reactive measure to crime, which definitely like has its place. I'm not like anti-police or anything, but I think, oh, and I work with behavior in my day-to-day life, and I think a lot of how to prevent behavior is more proactive. So I think there is kind of this blend between the proactive and the reactive to kind of get where we want to be. It just seems like you would lean more towards kind of policing as what we can do in the immediate.
Yeah, and I don't think. I mean, I think of it as being proactive. The idea of policing as a verb. You're trying to police behavior. You're trying to encourage things that society does in part, and police are to some extent the muscle behind that. You got to do this or else. But it's better for everyone if people can be deterred from harmful behavior, both for the sake of victims, but also for the sake of the person doing it.
Sure. I'm curious then, I guess just to follow up on that quickly before my next question, what part of policing, like what are the parts that you would consider then proactive? Obviously, the responding to crime would be like the reactive side. What are the more proactive measures I'm sure you could speak to with your personal experience?
Um, well, my personal experience in Baltimore, I don't think I did a great job in my brief time there at saving the city, or closing down public drug markets. But I mean, I did deter crime when I was there. You stand on a drug corner, and for that moment at least, people aren't slinging crack. So that usually is good for nothing else for neighborhood quality of life. But what police can do proactively, and it's in collaboration with other parts of the criminal justice system, because it requires prosecution as well, but to take gun violence, which is one of my more major concerns. If you can get people to stop carrying illegal guns on them, like, okay, if I could wave a magic wand, I would make some changes to the Second Amendment or the Supreme Court interpretation of it. But I can't. But what you can do is enforce existing gun laws. And if through police actions you can prevent people from having that gun on them at that moment, even if it's just a minute away, that can have a huge impact because most shootings are not planned assassinations; they're beefs that develop. That kind of the immediate access to guns, and conveniently, almost all the guns used in crimes, not all, but the vast majority already are illegally possessed. So that's sort of a matter of political will, and policing certainly plays a part. But on a different example, it's not focusing just on making an arrest for a crime, but then figuring out what's the organization behind it. Okay, you're in a stolen car. Um, I can lock you up, but then I want to talk to you and say, well, where are you going to take the car? Is it just for a joyride, or is it going to a chop shop? Oh, well, if it's going to a chop shop, let's go visit that chop shop and see what's happening. So to try to sort of, yeah, to focus more on the big picture of crime rather than simply making an arrest for some reported crime.
Sure. And I do want to get into like more structures of police and police reforms. The last question I did have kind of pertaining to crime. Do you think that more punitive measures or like rehabilitative measures, or do you think it kind of varies by crime? I'm sure it, regardless, kind of varies by crime, but how do you think it should be structured?
A lot of people need help, um, and we can offer that help. But there is some. But the idea, I mean, people commit crime for a lot of reasons. Um, Sometimes because they're pressured into. Sometimes, and I think it's too often forgotten, because crime is fun. You get an adrenaline rush from it. Like, I don't know how you can rehabilitate that sort of attitude. You just have to say, I understand that you choose to do this, and I'm saying you can't. Now, I do want to give you other options, but some of it's punitive. It doesn't have to be overly punitive. Um, in recent years, I mean, I think our prison population is too large, but in recent years, especially in progressive cities like mine of New York, I mean, there a night or two in jail can be a great deterrent in the future. Okay, maybe charges do get dropped, and then so technically, you're not guilty, but you did it. You are guilty. That's why you got arrested. Um, and then next time you might think, oh yeah, I would prefer not to spend that night in jail. So I think small, it's a Beccaria's idea of deterrence, that punishment should be swift, certain, and proportional. But it's important to focus on that, because I think often, and it's been argued by others, we fail at all three of those things. Where most people get away with crimes, it takes forever to go through the system, and then punishment, it seems almost arbitrary at that point. Um, so I think that, the little sticks are better than big sticks by and large. And of course, you need some carrots as well.